Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. We start today's video with a story about one of the pettiest checkout battles ever. You know how it goes. You're just trying to buy your stuff and get on with your day, being polite, maybe even a little too polite. But then a cashier with a serious attitude problem decides she's going to make things as painfully slow and annoying as possible. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. Petty cashier thought she could annoy me? Challenge accepted. I was standing in a checkout line at a department store, and the woman working the cash register was taking care of the customer in front of me. The cashier suddenly noticed that the previous customer had left a bag behind, so she shouted out, grabbed the bag, and ran after her. I only mention this so anyone reading this knows that this woman didn't have a disability or anything that made her move slowly. Anyway, it comes my turn to check out, and I had a thing in my cart that I just decided at the last second I wasn't going to get. I very politely asked her if she had a bin under her register for things going back to the shelves. I asked her nicely if she wouldn't mind putting the item in there for me because I decided not to get it. She seemed outwardly okay, but something on her face told me I had really just annoyed her. Just like this weird, prolonged eye contact as she reached for my other things. It was then that she started her petty, passive-aggressive revenge on me. It's hard to really put into words how slowly and robotically she began to move. She reached in slow motion for each item on the belt as if she were covering a great distance with her arm. She would pick it up in front of her, pause, then run it slowly across the sensor, then crush it up slowly and firmly into a tiny little ball, clothing, and place it in the bag. I bought about 7 items, and it took her several agonizing minutes to ring these things up. And the whole time she was doing it, she was clearly trying to stop herself from laughing. This ridiculous crap-eating grin was on her face the whole time, as if it was all she could do to keep herself from bursting out laughing. It took me a few moments of watching this to realize, what the heck, this lady's doing this on purpose to troll me. I just waited patiently because I knew how ridiculous I would look if I told her to hurry up. But my face burned with embarrassment as I tried to understand why she was acting like this. I know this sounds really stupid, but it kind of hurt my feelings. I was nothing but nice to her, and she was really taking delight in my discomfort and confusion. I knew she was doing it on purpose, and it was totally getting my goat. I worked in customer service for about a half a dozen years, and I was a waitress for about 10 years. I know exactly how all these games work. So now comes my petty revenge. I'm a pretty fast mover, walker, etc., so when the transaction's nearing completion at a store, I punch in my code, slide my card, tuck it back in my wallet, get my receipt, thank the person, and get out of their way. Always quickly, never rudely. I just want to get out of their hair, and I usually have somewhere to be. But this time, I stared at the number pad as if it was a foreign language. I took about 8 times longer than I normally would to punch in my code, then let the little machine ding at me for a few rounds before I slowly pulled my card out. At this point, she's standing there with a receipt in her hand, holding it out in front of my face, kind of shaking it at me. I slowly tucked my card back in my wallet and secured that. At this point, she says, "Here," to try and get me to take the receipt, and I turn and reach out my hand to her in very slow motion to get the receipt. I thanked her and continued to move in slow motion as I picked my bags up and slowly waddled away. I'm not even 100% sure that she noticed what I was doing, though I certainly hope so. I could have gone much, much slower, however there were people waiting in line behind me and I just couldn't be that rude to them. And if I go back to that store and find myself in her line again, I'll move even slower. I would turn to the person behind me who must be noticing her behavior and say, just loud enough for her to hear, "Don't you think it's wonderful how this store employs cashiers with special needs? I think it's a wonderful program." And our second story. Car rental company played dirty, so I wrecked their ride. This happened about 15 years ago. I was away on business and, as is usual, rocked up at the airport car hire desk Won't say who for obvious reasons, but they aren't the fifth company I'd been to. I asked for a small car, and once we had done all the paperwork, I went and collected the vehicle from the compound, had a quick check, and having found a small sink in one of the doors that was not noted, took a photo, and then traipsed back to the hire desk. They said they would make a note, and off I went for the next 3 or 4 days of BS meetings and customer visits. When I came back to the airport, I dropped the car off, and they went through the return paperwork, and they found the car parking dunk in the door. Naturally, I explained that it had been there when I had collected it and that I had informed the front desk, but they were having none of it. I now have 45 minutes to make my flight and really don't have time to deal with this, so I signed the paperwork and go. Company travel insurance will just have to swallow it. I didn't bother to take out the full insurance. About 3 weeks later, I have the plant manager decided to come to me for a chat about a $750 damage charge on my previous trip and ask what had happened. I explained he wasn't happy, but agreed with me that crap happens. I traveled a lot back then, like 3 weeks and 4 I would be out of the country. I had my routines, and I knew a lot of the staff at the airport by name, and they mine. I decided to bide my time for about 6 months, and then on one trip I packed a little something extra in my luggage, a 6-ounce ball-peen hammer, went to the usual car hire, wasn't the 7th one either, hired a car, including my now normal full insurance package, and took off for the week. On my final night before returning the car, I took the hammer to each and every panel, just once for each, and then tossed the hammer. When I returned the car the following morning, I explained that it had been vandalized the previous night, and, well, what could I do about it? Sorry, really upset about it. A further 3 weeks on, I had a phone call from the company which went along the lines of, "We know what you did, but can't prove it. We know why you did it, but can't prove it. Please find another car hire company in the future, wherever you are in the world." As far as I know, I'm still on a worldwide ban list for that, and it doesn't hurt at all. I find it very infuriating that these jerks charge 750 euros for a ding in a door panel and then don't bother to actually fix the car. Woohoo, profit. And our last story. HOA Karen tried to conduct an illegal inspection in my house, but she didn't know that my son is the chief of police. I never imagined that retirement would mean going to war with an HOA, yet here we are. After 40 years in a classroom, I sold our big ranch-style house and moved into a cozy cottage on the outskirts of San Bernardino. Picture-perfect lawns, a shared pool, a cute white picket fence. The only detail I missed, a 90-page HOA covenant enforced by a president everyone whispered about simply as Karen. She patrolled the neighborhood with a yardstick, measuring grass height and hunting for hairline cracks and siding as if the nation's safety depended on it. On the second morning after I moved in, Karen was already at my door. "Mrs. Garrison, the numbers on your house are nailed 2 inches too high," she intoned like a tax collector. "Good morning to you too," I said, carefully setting a box of books inside. "You'll receive a written warning. Have a nice day." Sure enough, the warning came. I lowered the address plate and figured my troubles were over. Karen, however, was just getting warmed up. Weekly letters followed. My living room curtains were an unapproved shade of beige. My trash can sat at the wrong angle. I swallowed it all until one stunt pushed the whole street over the edge. Late one Saturday morning, neighbors Dave and Maria were sprinting up and down the block looking for their white poodle, Lucy. I was watering roses when I spotted Karen in her black SUV. On the back seat sat Lucy. "Karen, that's Dave's dog," I yelled. She pulled an Oscar-worthy face of surprise. "Really? I found her near the road. I'm on my way to return her." Right then, Maria burst out. "She lured Lucy with a toy. I saw her. Give me my dog." Karen muttered something about improper leash etiquette, thrust Lucy back, and sped off. After that, nobody trusted her. Dave tried filing a report, but the police said, "Civil dispute, work it out." I called my son Mike. He's the local police chief. "Mom, I can't officially meddle in HOA squabbles," he said. "Just get everything on video and never let her inside without witnesses." That advice paid off sooner than anyone expected. On Friday at 2:30, I came home from the store and found Karen on my porch. One hand clutched a gleaming ring of keys under a HOA master fob. The other was already probing my lock. "Mrs. Garrison," she announced without turning around, "emergency inspection. We suspect you altered your bedroom layout without approval." You must be joking. I just repapered the walls. Refusing inspection violates paragraph 8.6. Admit me or I'll call the police. Please do, I said, hit record on my phone, and shut the door. 10 minutes later, a patrol Ford rolled up. 2 young officers stepped out while Karen shrieked that a collapsing ceiling might kill the neighborhood. One officer glanced at the Mrs. Garrison nameplate beside the bell. Ma'am, are you by any chance related to Sheriff Michael Garrison? He's my son, I confirmed. Karen detonated. Conflict of interest. I'm personally acquainted with Congressman Richards. You're both fired tomorrow. The officers politely asked for her ID. Instead, we got live theater. She twisted open a bottle of Coke, flung the soda in my face, and shoved the other cop. The cuffs clicked an instant later. Miss Miller, you're under arrest for assaulting an officer, they told her calmly. This is a conspiracy. The HOA is supreme, she screeched while they loaded her into the cruiser. All the commotion drew out Henry, the veteran from 3 doors down. He showed the officers camera footage of Karen unlocking his garage with that same master key. I'm filing for unlawful entry, he said. Karen screamed even louder, basically confessing that the HOA has the right to inspect anything it wants. Off to the station she went. Next morning, I brought Mike a blueberry pie. He was finishing a night shift and grinning like a kid. Mom, guess what? Karen used her one phone call to contact the HOA treasurer, not her lawyer, wanting an emergency meeting to expel everyone. More interesting, those master keys came from a locksmith gray market site, so now it's breaking and entering. And under her driver's seat, they found an official inspection report with a city seal, wrong font, total forgery. I gasped. That's not even the best part, Mike said. Her charity, Richards Community Care, has been on the FBI's radar for money laundering. Your little confrontation just opened a treasure trove of evidence. Sunday evening, nearly the entire street packed into a church hall the HOA had rented. Treasurer Mrs. Sloan shook behind a fold-up table. Karen showed up, amazingly, in a business suit and an ankle GPS bracelet. Item 1, she banged a gavel. Vote of no confidence in Mrs. Garrison and Mr. Henry for slander. Dave shot up. Slander? We have video of you stealing our poodle. Lies, Karen shrieked. I stood. I moved to suspend Karen from office until the investigation ends. Right then, the doors opened and 3 people in suits with FBI badges walked in. Senior Special Agent Rodriguez took the mic. Miss Miller, you are under arrest for forgery of municipal documents and laundering HOA dues through Congressman Richards' foundation. Mrs. Sloan, please come with us as a witness. Silence fell so hard, someone dropped a folder. Karen bolted for the exit, her ankle bracelet beeped, and agents gently added a fresh set of cuffs. This is all her fault, she pointed at me. She ruined my life. You managed that without me, I replied. A month later, I delivered another pie, this time cherry, to Mike's office. In the hallway, he introduced me to an elegant woman with a heavy portfolio. Mom, this is the state special prosecutor, he said. She shook my hand. Your HOA battle unearthed evidence lost almost 20 years. We discovered your late husband, Officer Frank Garrison, once seized a stash of gold tied to the same laundering scheme, but the report was buried. Thanks to this case, it's open again. Your husband's being posthumously awarded the State Medal of Honor. Tears stung my eyes. Mike put an arm around my shoulders. Dad always said the truth will surface, even if it takes years. Well, here it is. Karen ultimately got 3 years probation, a 6-figure fine, and a lifetime ban from serving on any HOA board. Congressman Richards is awaiting a jury trial. Our neighborhood elected a new council. Veteran Henry is president. And believe it or not, I'm the secretary. Neighbors joke that my first act was no more master keys, and I add that pies are now mandatory at every meeting. Funny how one bottle of Coke, a retired teacher's patience, and a dash of police smarts can revive a case dormant for 2 decades. The truth really does float. Sometimes it just needs a neighbor named Karen to stir the waters. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.